If you're trading the Pacific for the Atlantic, there's a version of this move nobody's telling you about. And it's not the bad version, it's just the real one. Hi, I'm Cindy Moody of the Volen Group, and I regularly speak to California buyers thinking about relocating here. They're from San Diego or Orange County or the Bay Area. And the question is always some version of the same thing. What am I actually trading? And what am I actually getting? By the way, I help people just like you every week who want to move to or sell in Ponte Vedra Beach and the surrounding areas. And I'd love to help you too. The best way to reach me is by calling or texting me at 904-746-9418 or booking an appointment using the link below. You'll find everything you need in the description. And stick around because at the end, I'm going to walk through the 3 things almost every California buyer underestimates before they make this move. And the one that surprises people the most isn't what you'd think. So let's start with who's actually making this move in 2026. It's high equity California homeowners, often a family looking for more space or a couple closer to retirement who's done fighting traffic and paying a premium for a coastline that's gotten crowded. They're not running from California. They're running toward something more home, a slower pace, a different kind of coastal life. Here's the part that surprises people first: what your California equity actually buys here. If you're selling in San Diego, Orange County, or the Bay Area, that number translates very differently in Ponte Vedra Beach. But where you land depends on the specific flavor of coastal life you want. Let's do a deep dive into the big 3. First, let's look at Marsh Landing Country Club. If you're looking for that sense of ultimate privacy and security, Marsh Landing is the benchmark. It is a gated community where the vibe is established and serene. You have large lots, often with views of the marsh or the intercoastal, and a canopy of old growth oaks that you just don't see in newer developments. It's for the buyer who wants to feel like they are in a private park while being 5 minutes from the beach. Next, there is Sawgrass, the club and resort lifestyle. For many, Sawgrass is Ponte Vedra Beach. Whether it's Sawgrass Country Club, the beachside, or Sawgrass Players Club, home of the TPC, the rhythm here is built around the club. It's a resort lifestyle. Golf, tennis, and social dining are the primary connectors. If you want a neighborhood where you can hop on your golf cart and be at the beach club for lunch, this is your spot. And last, let's look at Nocatee, the master planned powerhouse. This is one of the top selling master planned communities in the country for a reason. It is amenity heavy. Think water parks, fitness centers, and miles of electric cart paths. And it feels vibrant and new. For families coming from the West Coast who are used to high-end planned developments, Nocatee feels very familiar, but with much more space for the money. Now, part of that is the tax story. Florida has no state income tax. If you're coming from California, that's a real ongoing difference in your monthly and yearly numbers. And it's one of the first things people ask me about. But I want to be honest with you. It's not the whole picture. And anyone who tells you it isn't giving you the full comparison. And now the logistics of the move. Planning for a 2,500-mile move across the country isn't just a change of address. It's a massive logistical operation. Most of my California buyers find that the timeline starts much earlier than they expected. You aren't just hiring movers, you are hiring a long-distance partner. We recommend looking for carriers that specialize in interstate relocations with dedicated trucks, so your belongings aren't being shuffled between warehouses in the middle of the country. But the most important part happens before the truck even arrives: staging your life. In California, you likely have decades of belongings tucked into every corner. Because Florida homes often don't have basements and our attics are for insulation, not storage. This is the time for a radical edit. Our team often coordinates with organizers and estate sale professionals to help you decide what truly serves your new life and what stays behind. Think of it as right-sizing your inventory before you right-size your home. Timeline management is key. Usually we see 90 to 120-day window from the moment you list in California to the moment you turn the key here. This allows for the buy-side research, the tour, and the closing synchronicity that keeps you from living in a hotel with 3 dogs and a moving container in limbo. Because here's what most California buyers don't expect. And this is the one that catches people off guard: insurance and hurricane preparedness. Coastal living here means coastal risk here, just like it does in California, but the risk looks different. Homeowners insurance in Florida has its own posture, especially closer to the water, and hurricane season is a real planning consideration, not a footnote. I'd rather tell you that clearly now than have you find out at your first renewal. Wherever you are in this decision, still comparing coasts or already ready to tour, the next step is the same. A real plan, not a guess. You can call or text me at 904-746-9418 or connect with me using any of the links in the video description below. If you're buying, selling, or just trying to figure out what comes next in Ponte Vedra Beach, book a free strategy session with us. We'll look at your goals, your equity, the market, and build a clear plan together. The link is pinned in the description, and there's no pressure, just a smarter starting point.